Dana. All right, continue on.
All right, Lucha Underground.
A fine program.
That's for sure. That's quite an understatement, actually. So, about a month ago, I was actually thinking about this. We haven't seen this woman in a while. But the woman who is avenging her parents' death. She appeared. She was writing her diary, talking about her training. And then her masked sensei appeared. So it was time to go train. And we got a music video of her silhouette beating up a half dozen male silhouettes. And there was no lucha here. It was all kung fu. And then the sensei turned on the lights and he fought the young lady. And she appeared to have him dead to rights, but he reversed things, put her in an arm lock, and declared she wasn't ready.
I would say this was a little closer to karate.
It may have been.
But yes, this appeared to have been terrible, but they slowed it down and made it cinematic, so it was all right. I have a feeling if they played it in normal speed, it would have been hilariously bad.
I suspect that's true.
It was your classic deal with all of the bad guys running at her one at a time instead of all at once. And she beat them up, and then another man ran at her, and she beat him up. And yes, she is not ready.
No. Sexy Star versus Pentagon Jr. They had Melissa, the ring announcer, out there who was... They put it over how courageous she was to face this man who had attacked her and actually call his name as he came down to ring. And she did so with more than a little disgust in her voice. There were dueling chants here. Half the crowd supporting the brave woman fighting the scary guy and half supporting the maniacal killer. This crowd is evil. Vampiro was talking about how he had a long career in wrestling, of course, and he had hurt people in his career. He had done bad things to good people, and it still haunted him to this day. So there you go. That is his motivation for wanting to save Sexy. He's trying to redeem himself. That's good stuff. They did something amazing here. I realize Sexy is a woman, and not a particularly large woman at that. She's much smaller than the men Pentagon usually wrestles. But she tried a dive, and he caught her in position for a double underhook pile driver.
Oh, yeah.
That is nuts. That is insane. And he carried her around and dropped her on his face, and dropped her on her face. And she escaped the arm breaker a couple times. And he started hitting the move that Tommaso Ciampa calls Project Ciampa in ROH, the powerbomb onto his own knees. He hit that a couple of times, but then Sexy escaped and hit it was really just a regular backcracker, but the bump Pentagon took for it was so awesome. It looked like a really killer move. And she pinned him. She got the win over the Psycho Killer. And
yeah.
As I said, Pentagon took a fantastic bump for this. He was really a superstar throughout this match. He was awesome here. And Sexy won. Melissa was overjoyed to announce Sexy Star as the winner. And this was fun.
Dave reviewed this yesterday. And I pretty much had it in my mind I was going to hate this. And I sort of did. But the fans did go absolutely crazy, and they did play it up as like a flash pin finish. It wasn't like she just hit a bunch of moves and destroyed the man. But my problem is still, at the end of the day, my boy Pentagon Jr. should never lose. So that did upset me. But if you look at the whole storyline that they had for Sexy Star and Pentagon Jr. and the crowd reaction and the match, this was good.
Johnny Mundo was backstage doing what I wrote was bizarre exercises.
This guy. Oh, my God. So his exercise is, imagine a weight bench, and the bar is on the bench for bench press. But instead of doing the bench press, you hang and you pull yourself and you do horizontal pull-ups under the bar. Now imagine doing that with one arm, and your other arm is you're doing one arm horizontal pull-ups on the bench. Your other arm is doing a dumbbell press. Why in the fuck would anyone ever do this?
I believe he was also on one leg.
He may have been.
Yeah.
It was a bizarre idea.
So Alberto did him a favor and interrupted. And he went back and forth between praising Mundo as a great athlete while simultaneously, or alternating, burying him for always losing the big matches. Mundo declared he was not just some guy Alberto could slap around. Alberto told him he needed to chill out and walked away.
Teasing the turn.
Slow build, and a slow burn. We had the advertised championship final to the Trios Championship Tournament. A three-way. King Cuerno and Tejano and Cage versus Son of Havoc and Ivelisse and Angelico versus Big Rick and Killshot and the Mac.
Yes.
That was emphatic.
Just clarifying.
I see. So I just watched this before we started the show, and I've already forgotten almost everything about this match. They had a big the Cage versus Big Rick showdown, the two biggest dudes in the company. And they went at it a bit, and Cage got the better of things and did a big moonsault to the floor. The key spot was actually, we have noted for the past, 2-3 weeks, Kazuo Daivari is in the crowd. Always in the front row, always marking out and going crazy.
I can't believe you called him Khosrow.
Wasn't that his name?
Well, I just figured he was Sean Daivari.
That's his, yeah.
But yes, Khosrow.
That's what they call him in WWE, right?
I believe so, but I'd totally forgotten about that.
That nugget is buried deep in my green matter.
I don't know why, but it came to the surface.
I'm not proud of it, but there it is. So anyway, he's been there the whole time, or for weeks, and Tejano got thrown right into his lap, and he jumped up, outraged, and beat the fuck out of Tejano.
Yes, posted him,
stomped him on the floor, tore his shirt off, was posing and flexing. The crowd was going nuts, threw him into the chairs, just beat Tejano's ass. And the announcers were first saying, "Who is this guy?" Which does not get him over as a superstar right away.
Not to mention, come on, Striker.
Yeah.
The man knows everything there is to know about wrestling, but he could not identify Sean Daivari.
Yeah. And Vampiro did at the very end say, "Hey, I think I recognize him," as he was thrown out. So Tejano was dead after this, and Killshot hit a top rope foot stomp just to finish him off. And that team was out. And the match continued after the break. Ivelisse had a knee or ankle injury here that she was selling from this point literally to the end of the match, or end of the show.
She did a dive and broke her ankle.
Yeah. Legit?
That sucks, yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. She works the next few months with a boot.
That's awful.
Yeah, and she kept going.
That's amazing, actually. It made the match, in a way, better by the end. So she's down with her ankle. Havoc disappeared for a while. And so it was Big Rick and Killshot and the Mac all triple teaming Angelico to death. 3 black dudes beating up a white guy from South Africa. And Stryker did, in fact, drop a PW Bota reference. So Havoc finally returned, made a comeback. Ivelisse limped up to the top rope and hit a dive onto the floor. But they caught her, so she dove on 2 men, and they, of course, caught her. Then Havoc followed with a big tope and wiped them all out. And Angelico hit the ring, and he hit Killshot with a razor's edge into the turnbuckles, which looks very painful. And he made the pin to win the championship final, or so we all thought.
That's right.
Cueto stepped out of his office.
This match, by the way, this portion of the match was good. I wouldn't call it great. The early part of the 3-way actually was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
You had an injury, but the final few minutes here were very, very good. But this was not what you got to go out of the way to see.
No, it's not. So Dario Cueto comes out of his office. He is blown away that this team that he put them together. He forced them to work together, figuring they would lose. And he would have a spot for whoever he wanted to win instead. So he was mystified they had made it this far, but he said they had not won the championships yet because there was one more team in the tournament.
Oh, man.
And they all sold this like they cannot believe they had their win taken away, and this fucker would screw them like this. And he explained they would now fight for the championship in a no DQ match right now against his surprise team, which was the Crew.
Oh, the Crew.
I was underwhelmed when the Crew was announced as the surprise team.
You know what? I'll tell you what I liked about the Crew here. Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Ivelisse had just worked a long match. And Ivelisse has a broken ankle. Angelico has nearly killed himself 18 times. Son of Havoc is Son of Havoc. Nothing against that, of course, but he didn't have a broken leg, nor did he try and kill himself. So they're tired, though. That's the gimmick. And out comes the crew, all fresh. And the crew are not like great workers. And that's kind of part of the charm of this here. They just went out there and were beating the shit out of these three. It was crazy. It was a real, I thought, sense of out of controlness about this. You know what I mean? Like when New Jack would come out. And he wasn't like a great worker or anything like that. But when New Jack was in the ring, you were like, holy shit. Everyone, please be careful with this guy. That's what it was like with the crew. And insanity occurred here. There was all sorts of crazy spots. People were nearly dying again. One of the crew tried to suplex Havoc over like a barricade.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but Havoc fell down on his head.
There was very nearly a fatality here. So it was several minutes of brawling. And one very terrifying bot superplex in the stands. And the show at this point was about 58 minutes old. And we hadn't gotten to the good stuff yet. So suddenly, Son of Havoc hits an Acai moonsault off a barricade, literally balancing off a fan's head.
Yes, he used a fan's head for balance.
Yes, his feet were on the barricade, his hand was on the man's head, hit a giant moonsault to wipe out one guy on the floor. But this wiped out whoever he landed on and himself. And Angelico was nowhere to be seen. And one-legged Ivelisse was down in the corner, trapped in the ring with two big, scary men who were going to finish her off.
Angelico was not just nowhere to be seen, but he had brawled up the stairs and I can't even say onto a balcony. He was.
It's the platform. They've done a few things off here.
Sure. I think it might have been where the band plays from.
Maybe, actually.
But it's about legitimately probably, 15, 20 feet away from the ring?
Oh, yeah. It's far.
And another 20 feet up.
Yeah.
And the key was Havoc is down, and Angelico is, quite simply, even if he wasn't down, which he was, he's too goddamn far away to do anything.
They pointed out he is too far away to help.
That's right. And Ivelisse, with her broken leg, is in the ring with two members of the crew, and they got a kendo stick, and all hope is lost.
And suddenly, and this really should have had like a flash of lightning or dramatic music playing or something. And Angelico hits a running dive off this platform. And he sprints, and he leaps in the air, and he flies for what felt like a minute. Just going sideways and down through the air. And he wiped out the two men in the ring. Just crashed and burned into them. And that was great thing you must check out number one.
Yes.
Number one. Johnny Mundo, I recall, hitting like a big flip in the ring, but he landed on his feet.
Yes.
And somebody did the dive off this thing through a table and nearly killed themselves. But this was the first time anyone really hit a dive from the platform into the ring.
Honest to God, with the exception of Mick Foley going off the top of the cage, I don't know if I can ever remember somebody running and diving and flying such a great distance in pro wrestling. It was outrageous how far this guy flew.
As far as like horizontal distance,
down.
The only thing that can match the horizontal distance is the dives that Rob Van Dam hit on Bam Bam Bigelow in ECW. But that was just from the ring to the floor.
Yes.
As noted, Angelico was 15 feet up.
Oh, yeah.
This is a huge, huge move. Now, I don't think it was the best part of this.
It was not.
Because the best part, and thank God, someone sent you a text to check this out, because we missed it the first time.
Somebody sent me a text and they said, "This is so awesome, but you've got to watch Vampiro." And I actually rewound it twice, because the first time I didn't see Vampiro. I was watching the dive. And the second time, I still couldn't find Vampiro because I was still watching the dive. So the third time, now keep in mind, this is Lucha Underground, everybody. They don't do replays. They've never done a replay in the entire history of the show. And in fact, there was it was Cage when he did. Cage is a huge motherfucker. He's gigantic. He's all muscle bound, and he did a dive, a moonsault off the post, and Stryker actually asked if we were going to see a replay, and of course we didn't. There's never going to be a replay, so you got to keep your eye out because they're not going to show it again. Angelico goes for this crazy dive, and as he's diving through the air, if you look way back a little bit to the right, you can see the announce booth. And the moment he lands, all of a sudden you hear, "Holy shit!" And Vampiro's marked out many times. There have been many times where Vampiro has dropped a "holy shit," a "goddamn," or a "Jesus Christ." I have never seen anything like this. Vampiro screams, "Holy shit." He leaps to his feet. He throws the headset off of his head, and he grabs his head with both hands, and he flees.
He started running around the building.
He runs away from the announce booth screaming with his hands on his head as this spot occurs. I fucking laughed harder than I have laughed in forever when I saw this spot right here. Vampiro marked out like no man has ever marked out, I think, in the history of wrestling.
He done lost his mind.
He lost his shit. He screamed, "Holy shit," jumped up, threw his headset off, grabbed his head, and ran.
Just started running.
His body could not contain his excitement. He could not stay in his seat. He didn't even leap to his feet. For some reason, I don't even know why, he could not help but run for his life. He didn't run at the ring either. He just went running. I think it was about a minute before he returned. He did eventually return. I don't know if he ran around the ring 5 times. I don't know if he ran into the stands. I don't know if he was tackled by security and dragged back. I don't know what happened. He just went running.
So, the greatness was not over. Because what happened then, Angelico wipes out these two dudes, but of course it's a big giant dive, and he is selling it because he is not stupid. So, Ivelisse pulls her one-legged ass up to her foot, and there is currently a discussion on the board, this actually is relevant here, about the greatest Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of all time. And the only possible correct answer is Terminator 2. Among the reasons this movie is great, you know how they say in wrestling, if you're going to get the fans into your comeback as a babyface, you need to show babyface fire. And someone says, well, what exactly is babyface fire? Can you demonstrate this? I would say, go to the end of Terminator 2 when one-armed Linda Hamilton is pumping her shotgun and blasting the evil Terminator into the smelting pool. That is babyface fire. And that is exactly what Ivelisse did here. With one leg, she dragged herself up, grabbed a stick, and started beating the fuck out of these dudes. It was so awesome. So great. And finally, her partners go to opposite turnbuckles, and she's calling shots with a stick. And Havoc hits a giant shooting star press, and Angelico hits a foot stomp, and the referee counts 3. And for like a solid minute from the giant dive off the platform to the finish of this match, the crowd is just like white noise, electric heat, just going nuts, just absolutely pissing themselves. And the babyfaces here finally win. They win their second match of the show. I guess they didn't win the first fall, that 3-way, but get their second win on the show. And they start chanting, "You deserve it." And that was awesome. And they celebrated with their belts. And they were all, you've never seen people in years this happy to win titles. They just stared at the championship belt in their hands, not able to believe it was actually real. Like it was a dream come true. Just incredibly emotional. And Stryker's on commentary talking about how they're all total underdogs, especially, he didn't say this, but he pointed out Havoc had been told by the biggest star of all time that he would never make it in this business, and here he was, a champion.
That's right.
That is a fact. And all I could think was, how many times in the past 10, 15 years have we seen and I'm blaming Vince Russo for this, I don't know if he was the first one, but he did it a lot, the tag teams that don't get along and can't work together, even when they should be able to work together. two baby faces who can't get along because they're assholes. And the whole story here was these three people hate each other, but they had a common goal. And they were able to put their differences aside and fight together and stand united in victory. That is a great fucking story.
Yes.
That is uplifting. That is inspiring. That is awesome. So, I don't know if I can say this was a great match, but the last 60 to 120 seconds of this show, you must see this.
No, I'm going to say this. It's not about the match. It's about the payoff.
It's about the moment.
You can watch the last 2 minutes and you'll be like, oh my God, what a dive. Oh, look at Vampiro. That's awesome. But you won't get it unless, I mean, you should watch like the whole match, but really, to really get the whole storyline, you would have had to watch the whole season of Lucha Underground. And at least watch it from the beginning of the tag team tournament. And they showed a recap at the beginning of the show, which was Dario Cueto put these people together. They hate each other. He did it as a rib. And in the very first match they had in the tournament, Evil East walked out on the team. And they barely won. It was fucked up from the very beginning. But they worked their asses through this tournament. And it built to this final match right here. And the match itself was really good. They had victory snatched from their hands. They had to do one more match. All hope was lost. And then there was a crazy dive. The woman with one leg, who wasn't even supposed to have one leg, by the way, because that was a shoot, goes nuts with the kendo stick. They hit the double finisher. They all worked together and they won the titles. It paid off the most for those of you that have watched it from the very beginning. You'll get something out of it just watching like the last 2 minutes, but really, you got to watch the whole show, and ideally, you should have watched like the whole season, or at least all the way back from the beginning of the tag team tournament. This was a classic example of the thing that I want to see on WWE, and it makes me so fucking furious every week, which is why I bury SmackDown and I bury Raw all the time, because I'm never rewarded as a viewer.
You're punished.
There's nothing worse than a storyline. And I love Tyson Kidd and I love Natalya. I hate to always bring this up. It's not even their fault. But when there is a storyline on Raw, the two people don't like each other. And it's been going on for a while that they don't like each other. And then I watch SmackDown and they're love birds. That is the way they're described as the announcers. They're love birds. To me, it's like, you know what? Fuck off. There's so many things I could be doing with 2 hours of my life, and you don't care enough about me as a viewer to keep your goddamn storyline straight. So you know what? I'm going to watch something else. I'm not going to watch your show. That really infuriates me, because I remember growing up where it would be fun to try to pay attention to storylines and try to follow the storylines and see where everything led, and it would pay off for you as a viewer. It paid off for you if you were a fan of Ohio Valley Wrestling. It pays off for you today if you're a fan of Ring of Honor. And you know what? It fucking paid off if you're a fan of Lucha Underground, if you saw the last few minutes of this particular match right here. And I sure wish that I could watch Raw and SmackDown and it would pay off when I pay attention. Instead, it doesn't pay off. So for people that go, oh, Brian never pays attention, why the fuck should I pay attention? I mean, I try. I don't try not to pay attention. But it does get hard to pay attention when there's no value to paying attention. There's no payoff when you pay attention. I mean, for fuck's sake, this cage match. I paid attention when Randy Orton signed a cage match where he wanted a cage because he didn't want anybody in and out. And then a week later, Kane is assigned the guy who's there to make sure nobody gets in and out. Isn't that what the fucking cage is for? Drives me crazy. But yes, Lucha Underground really paid it off here on this show, and it was great. So watch this show, everybody. I command you. In fact, I'm going to do something right here. I'm going to call God.
What?
I forgot his phone number.
Okay. I don't know what's happening right now.
You're going to find out in a minute, Vinny. I'm calling the Lord here. You should know this gimmick if you've been paying attention to the show. Here we go. Thou shalt watch Lucha Underground. Thou shalt fuck Raw. Thank you, Lord. I'm done.
Good night.
All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up.
I thought you were done.
I was done with my phone call to the Lord. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
I had a song. This is from Ryan. It's the first time he's done a song, so let's hope it's good. All right, Granny's on the air. Is she ever? What's up, Granny? Yes, Granny is out on the roads, everybody, so beware.
Yeah, get out of my way.
Oh, bitch.
Get out of my way. Get out of my way.
Bitch.
Get out of my way.
Oh, bitch.
Get out of my way. Get out of my way.
Bitch.
Get out of my way.
Oh, bitch.
Get out of my way. Get out of my way.
Bitch.
Get out of my way.
Get out of her way.
That's right.
Yeah. Vinny's here.
Hi, Vinny.
Oh, hey, Granny.
Always wonderful when a first time